So, outside of a complaint that I hope to God gets settled in the next episode,
We'll get to that.
we're doing good. This is still remarkably well paced and still a great show. There's just one sliver of a complaint that, in my opinion, had a grand old moment to get settled, and it didn't yet. So we'll see. All right, go ahead.
So this episode is called Partners. Am I right? Barton diffuses the situation after Eleanor and Duquesne recognize him as an Avenger. Eleanor asks him to keep Bishop out of his investigation and later contacts an unknown person to inform them of the situation. With the help of his wife, Laura, Barton discovers that Duquesne is the CEO of Sloan Limited, a shell corporation that launders money for the tracksuit mafia.
Dun dun dun.
While Bishop deduces that Barton was Ronin, Barton locates Kazi and asks him to talk Lopez out of her vendetta against Ronin, while Barton is ambushed by a masked assassin. A fight ensues between Barton and Bishop, Lopez, and the assassin. Bishop injures Lopez, forcing her to retreat, while Barton unmasks his assailant, who is revealed to be, dun dun dun, Yelena Belova, before she escapes. Barton decides that he cannot keep putting Bishop in danger and breaks off their partnership.
She's here.
Okay, so working backwards, we knew that Florence Pugh was going to be in the Hawkeye series.
Oh, yeah.
Now I have to ask, do you think it was Eleanor who called what was her name? The character that
Julie Louis-Dreyfus plays.
Yeah.
Can't think of her name. She's got a stupid, super long name, but the first name is not that extravagant. Maybe? It could be, because I'm going to be honest, I was thinking about this. This is possibly, after thinking about it, I think that might be what it is, because...
Valentina Allegra de Fontaine.
Yeah. Hawkeye might be the stupidest person to send Yelena to go kill. Because in the grand scheme of things, I get it. He's the most human of all the Avengers, but he's also the one that could most easily prove that he didn't do what Valentina is saying he did.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm thinking this was, hey, who do you got to solve an issue? And then it picks Yelena, and you're like, hey, your sis is around anymore. This guy screwed her over. I think that's what happened, because that hit me when they're finally here attacking. I'm like, wait, this whole series is going out of its way to mention how much Nat meant to him. And now another Black Widow's here, and I'm just going to be like, you can't tell me there ain't a photo or something that could just go, hey, by the way, no, I didn't.
So the reason I think Eleanor is the one who called Valentina is, well, because she saw it. They saw each other.
Mm-hmm.
So like, oh, and she also knows that he's on the tail for something.
Mm-hmm.
And I also have to assume that Eleanor knew about the black market auction in the basement. Which is just a roundabout way of saying Eleanor's fucking hiding something.
Now, question. I don't mean to be the guy that keeps mentioning the white boy with rather large meaty claws that keeps being mentioned here. Do we think that said individual called Valentina?
It's possible that he could have been the middleman,
because it's like Maya's not dealing with it, and I don't want to get my paws dirty. Because it's going to be pretty obvious that I'm pretty sure Thaddeus, if we get a Thunderbolts of sorts, isn't the one doing recruiting.
No, he's too busy being a corporate or a government lackey.
Yeah, so I got a feeling that Dark Avengers, whatever, might be getting a thing from somebody else, and like I don't know, they need a person who's going to be a good organizer, and Kingpin's a pretty good organizer, and
Oh my god.
I'm just saying because it's obvious they're not tying him up with Spider-Man. They're using him as many of you might not know this. Kingpin is originally a Daredevil villain that just happened to do a lot more with Spider-Man as the years went along because I know, Mike, hold on. I'm going to share with you a fact you might not know. There's a lot of Marvel characters that live in New York.
I was gonna say I thought originally that Kingpin was a Spider-Man villain that kind of slowly migrated into Daredevil territory, or like a lot of Green Arrow's villains in the DC universe, like they have no specific pairing with anyone.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, it's just one of those things that you just floated over and they went, oh wait, he works really well with somebody else. He's going to be in every Spider-Man cartoon or property from here on until all of a sudden Marvel started selling rights away. Hey. But yeah, but we do learn that, well, at the end we learn that Rolex belongs to someone that Hawkeye worked with, so that
does that narrow it down?
I don't know if that narrows it down. I don't know who's a good guy that has like, and it's not an overly fancy watch, but it's like if it was Fisk, he would wear fancy things, but I don't know if there's any heroes that are famous for watches.
Yeah, nobody's really like jumping to the top of my head.
Yeah, and it's like I don't know anyone who's that like who's like, oh yeah, there's this whole guy I used to work with, Reed Richards. No, that's not happening. I'm being a comicbookmovie.com article right now is what I'm being. Oh, there was this one scene where Reed Richards liked to wear nice watches, and Tony sold Avengers Tower, Baxter Building. It is so easy. I just made an article of theirs in 2 seconds. It's that easy.
Better collect the check.
Absolutely.
Because you just wrote them like 5 different essays.
I did. I just paid the rent checks for 4 of their workers, and it took me 2 minutes. Man, their jobs are difficult.
Back to the show itself. Someone told the truth. Well, he didn't actually tell them. Kate just kind of put 2 and 2 together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she like after a while it was gonna be. There's very much of the pronoun game going on with those two about a lot. This whole show is the pronoun game, and after a while it was just gonna be. You specifically want this Hawkeye issue taken care of, or this Ronin issue taken care of. You specifically know exactly who he attacked, exactly where he went, exactly who he would be enemies with, and you're the one making sure that I get out of it because you know how dangerous his situation is. I swear to God, I'm not Kira Dad. But yeah, she deduced it after, but that like we're going way backwards in the wrong order. But at the start of this episode, it didn't end the way I thought it was going to. I did not expect both of them to be home.
You thought it was like just going to be Jack,
and then he was going to have to word salad his way out of that situation. But then all of a sudden he's just like, "Hi," and they're like, "Oh, you're the Archer, Hawkeye. Thanks." And there's like the one person who is I was waiting to go, by the way, thank you for saving the world.
Of course it'd be him.
It is. He like for as much as he is a douchebag and he's obviously evil, he's so damn charming. Like
he's a douche, but he's also a dork.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It makes me wish that he wasn't evil, kind of. Like I would love there to be Kate having phone calls to home and it's just him being an idiot. But that's not gonna happen. And like I'm gonna start a counter for how many people have to go out of their way to tell Hawkeye that Natasha's dead.
It's happened at least once per episode.
Yeah, and the weird part is like in the Avengers movie, they never made a big announcement that Natasha died. They
Not
just
like
had a small
not even
funeral
not even so much as like a proper headstone until Black Widow.
until Black Widow, and it's just like she has no idea where her body is. She just knows she's gone. And again, doesn't know how she died or whatever. And it's a big situation that's easy to go through. But yeah, he's just like, I don't want my daughter to be Natasha. He's and one of these times, I want Hawkeye to snap and go, y'all don't know what happened. Natasha wouldn't be dead if we weren't in the situation we were in. She would still be alive and kicking ass. And before we get too far away from that, oh, I don't know. Who does Maya work for? Yeah, maybe she's the one who's in charge of the big guy's operations.
The big guy.
The big guy. It's not going to be Rhino, people. I'm pretty sure. We know who he's talking about.
They're making it too obvious that it's Fisk that I'm worried if it's not, the internet is going to riot.
It's like, this is not one of those stupid every villain in the Marvel shows for the past four shows has been Mephisto, according to the internet. This is not one of those things. Everyone was going out of their way to make up reasons for Mephisto to be in a show just because they wanted Mephisto to be there. This is like, it's literally the character's uncle. It's their adopted father. They're in New York and they're going out of their way to talk about how this dude is big, powerful, and a businessman.
Yep.
It's like they're basically going in a Black Panther prequel comic going, yeah, there's this really cool guy that I think his name starts with a T and like he lives in this weird country. Like, we get it. But yeah, if somehow it's not him and it's some super uber obvious character that I'm not thinking of.
I mean, like what other what other businessmen are there in the MCU that we haven't seen? Because even like the character that Mahershala Ali played in Luke Cage,
Cottonmouth, I think, right?
Cottonmouth, yeah. Like that I don't think would make too much sense to reintroduce here.
Yeah, and he's not known as a big dude. They're going out of their way to mention that it's a big guy. Like
that, and have you noticed that Vincent D'Onofrio has like been very talkative on social media
about anything, like, but he will not mention MCU. He's talkative. He's like, working, whatever. And I don't mean to mention again that for whatever freaking reason, Kevin Feige had to say, yeah, it'd be Charlie Cox if we did anything. Yeah, I can't imagine who else was in Daredevil with Charlie Cox. I just can't imagine.
Like, they're making this so obvious.
Yeah, it's just like if it truly is, and that is happening, I could bet Kevin Feige is just about ready to implode with, guys, stop asking. I've said it in the show 14 different ways without saying it's him. Yeah.
Onto something more wholesome. The fact that like Kate and Clint are just having their own little Christmas get together, that was a genuinely nice moment.
It was amazing. It was, I think, maybe my favorite thing in the whole show. She's just like, the going on with the man. It's one of the reasons I want to do a Fresh Takes of Kill la Kill with you. There's an episode in Kill la Kill. I've not told anybody about, like, one of my biggest pet peeves is I have a disastrous family situation where like a good chunk of them don't talk to each other because of all immature things. And I don't see my dad's side of the family for reasons. So like, we don't have a lot of big family occasions, like, ever. And then there's an episode in Kill la Kill where a social situation happens to where the family that the main character is living with stops having family dinners. And it's not a bad thing that happens, it's a good thing that happens to them, but it just results in them not being close anymore, and it
Oh,
bugs her. And, like, the family dinner thing especially is something because I legitimately never had that. And then it's just, like, the Jack and Eleanor talking about how no one should be home alone on Christmas and all that, and she's instantly like, "No, I'm solving this. I'm buying pizza, we're making a tree, we're watching movies, I'm going to go spend the holiday with Clint." It's just like, oh, oh, it's so good.
it's yeah. I think that might be somewhere in my top 5 or top 10 just singular MCU moments.
It is. It might
'Cause
be
it's just
my
it's just two characters hanging out. Sure, there's a plan,
yeah,
but they're just spending time together.
exactly. And like this was just missing them having an argument about whether or not Die Hard was a Christmas movie. That was like the only thing that was missing. But like talking about freaking random stuff with trick arrows and showing her how to hit
The
the
quarter
VCR.
trick.
Yeah. Like that was so cool and so simple. He's just like, no, you can't. He's just like, just without even thinking about it, not even looking at the TV, doesn't she's like, you have to try to do that. It's like it's so cool. Kate is such a great it's hard to make a character be their own thing, but also have them be a great self-insert character. That's hard to
She
pull off.
Yeah, Haley Steinfeld's Kate Bishop is like as close to perfect casting as Hugh Jackman's Wolverine, Ryan Reynolds Daredevil, Robert Downey Jr. Iron
Yeah,
Man.
Deadpool.
Oh, what did I say?
You said Daredevil. We've been
Oh,
talking about Daredevil a lot. It's fine. But yeah, she's perfect. And like how they naturally slid into home base into talking about Nat. Like she didn't bring it up. It was whatever. He's just like, what was your best shot? He's like, the best one was a shot I didn't take. And it's just a story I don't want to talk about. And I'm just like, how not specific is he gonna be about this?
he was about as specific as Natasha was in that scene in Black Widow where she basically told the same story.
Yep. And it's great. And again, I'm gonna go down the list of stuff we've done. It like a single story from different perspectives is such a good story hook. My best example of it is that situation in the cave with Kamina and Simone when it's said from just gets told the exact same way to 3 different people, and it's great. And you could do so much with saying the same thing over again just by the different person's perspective. And that's all going back to this show was written so freaking well. It's off the charts how well this show is put together. And Clint, again, we talk a lot about how Clint looks at his job as a 9 to 5. Listening to Clint describe what it's like to be quote unquote an Avenger versus what everybody else would describe it as is like, I know my job was not to save people. My job was to hurt people so that they never got a chance. So I would never be put in a situation where I had to save somebody. And technically, he's not wrong.
He's not talking about being an Avenger. He's talking about being a SHIELD agent.
Yeah. He's talking about being a hired assassin. And he's clouded by what he's done as Ronin and not thinking about everything he did while he was working for Shield and when he was working with the Avengers. His whole version of what he's done for his entire life is just the 5 years he was Ronin. Like he can't even think outside of that bubble.
That 5 years as Ronin, at least as depicted in the MCU, is basically him like regressing to his time before he met Natasha.
Mm-hmm. Before he decided that some targets were worth saving.
Yep.
Pretty much.
God, I did not think I was going to fall head over heels for the show. I mean, I knew I was going to like it, and I think somewhere at some point I figured at some point that Marvel was going to adapt the Matt Fraction run because it got so popular. And from what I've heard, this isn't even like a 1v1 comparison, but they're bringing in certain elements such as grills, and I guess for the MCU, the LARPing club is kind of like their version of like the tenants in the apartment in the comics.
Yeah, that is true. Like, they had a story they wanted to tell, and they're like, what are some things that are from Hawkeye's best moments in the comics? Because I don't think this is getting to season 2. It's going to lead into Young Avengers stuff. They're like, we're going to put all the Hawkeye's greatest hits into a concealed, well put together story and make it flow. And if it doesn't, we're not doing it, but we're going to get this to work the way we want it. And we know what people want, and we're going to give it to them.
Yep. Plus, I love how enthusiastic Kate is, walking up to the LARPers, doing, I don't know, combat training or whatever.
Yeah, like stance training, making sure that their timing is good. Kind of reminds me of like wrestling training, where they're like doing as much as they can to make it look like they're actually hurting the other person when they're not. Yeah, it's like, she's just like, this is so good. This is so whatever. Going out of her way. Like, it wasn't a one-off joke. She like legit wants Hawkeye to have a better costume. Like, it's an ongoing thing. She's like, I'm going to make you a costume. And like, if they pull off like how well they made Falcon's Captain America costume,
oh my god,
with that Hawkeye costume,
I don't think we're ever gonna see the like the classic Hawkeye suit, you know, with the big eyes. But I'm sure they will come up with like a cool modernized version.
Because like they did kind of modernize it a bit without the helmet in
Age of Ultron.
Age of Ultron, yeah. Like with kind of like the flowing cape-ish type suit and stuff like that. They did to a degree. So I'm just like, what are you going to do? Because, like, you see he wears purple in the next episode, obviously. It's been in all the marketing material. It's just, I'm waiting to see where that all goes, and it's, yeah. But anyway, so, again, these episodes are only, like, 10 minutes long. So, yeah. Man, they don't have a lot of scenes in them.
What else didn't we cover? We talked a little bit about Hawkeye interrogating Kaz.
Yep. That box cutter under the seat. It's just like, man, just stop it. Are you trying to butter me up? No, I think you're a doormat. Don't get it twisted. Like, the brutal, honest Hawkeye is my favorite version of Hawkeye.
Yep.
Oh man. It's so much like, it's so weird that once everyone got out of Avengers, like the first one, they really nailed who they wanted to be. Like, I still like that Avengers movies, but there was that first Avengers movie, but there's very much moments where it was like, this is what a stereotypical Captain America would say, or this is what that would say. And then after they got out of that and they got more like the other writers and like the Russo's hands, they kind of became their own things.
Yeah, I'd say by Endgame, everyone kind of slipped into these characters more comfortably.
Yeah, it was more of a individualizing them versus making them a joke machine, versus kind of what the first Avengers kind of got crap for, and what a lot of people give the MCU crap for. I don't think it does that anymore. I just think it did it for the first few movies, and people are like, well, they're all the same after that. Like, no, they're not. You're not watching the movies if you think they're all identical. I'm sorry. They follow a certain formula, but they're not identical. Like, just shut up. If they're all identical, then why would you be coming back after everyone? Yeah, I saw it was stupid. I'm like, I thought it was the same movie. Why'd you go watch the next one? Why are you hate watching it? Do you actually like it? You just don't want to admit it because that would hurt. If you don't like it, don't watch it. Why can't you stop? Oh, maybe it's good. Maybe it's entertaining. Maybe you're just trying to be cool by complaining about it because you don't have a genuine thing to bring up other than what everyone else says and parrot it. Don't be that person. Don't like what you don't like and don't like it. It's simple as that. But yeah,
I see a lot of MCU hate on Twitter, and after a while, you just kind of tune it out.
it is. It's like if you genuinely don't like something, don't like it. Come up with your own reasons for why you don't like it, though. That's one of my biggest pet peeves ever. If you can't come up with your own actual reasons for why you don't like something, and you just look up an article and be like, yeah, that guy says exactly what I'm thinking. How come you couldn't say that till you read the article, though? Because you didn't think it. Anyway, back to this. They basically just figure out, hey, the Rolex tracker goes to this, and it goes. I'm not going to say that because it'll not be true. That's going to be an after recording thought, and I'm not going to say it because I don't know why that popped in my head. That is another comicbook.com article, but it would be really cool if it happened. Anyway, so they track the Rolex back to Maya's apartment. It's important to her as well, unless she's just using it to try and get a hold of Hawkeye.
It's possible that's all it's there for.
Yeah, but like she's obviously going and all that, and then they're treating it well, like with the strobe lights that are an emergency for a deaf person. That was a really cool touch.
Mm-hmm.
Like I didn't think about that. I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. Are they like snapping pictures? And like, oh, duh, because they can't hear a moron. She would have to have visual cues. Otherwise, that's really smart. That's another credit to the show. They're not just going, yeah, they're deaf, cool. It was something we wrote in to make her have a thing. No, they're going all in with it. Like they're making you realize this person has to live a certain way because they're deaf, and this character does things a certain way because they're deaf. And they've went whole hog with it, which some shows, not just comic book shows or anything, don't handle well. This is handling it very well.
Not to bring up Daredevil again, but since he's blind, I did like that detail of whenever you see him alone in his apartment, the lights are never on.
Yep.
Because
it's simple touches.
Yep.
And it's one of the things that, again, to bring up Daredevil, like that the original Daredevil, that a lot of you give a lot more shit to than need be. Like, it is nowhere near as bad as what people say it is. But, like, the fact that he, like, slept in a water, like, sensory deprivation tank because his senses are so off the charts that he wouldn't be able to sleep at night. Like, that's a cool little touch that not a lot of people would think of, because that would be a nightmare if your senses were that off the charts. And
so like even in like movies that are not good or shows that like you don't like, there are always those small little touches that like they don't go unnoticed.
Yep, absolutely. And I thought for a minute where like he said, no, Maya's attack, like when she gets attacked by Maya in the apartment, he's like, no, Maya's attacking me outside. I'm like, I don't know what Echo's power set is. Does she have one?
I don't think so.
I was going to be like, is she called Echo? Because like, I was going to say with the being deaf thing, but I was going to like, are they making it so she can make copies of herself? And then all of a sudden I'm like, it's masked. I'm like, no, she's got a widow stinger on her. That's Yelena. Like, got it. But I like how they go out of their way to within second, like, you're getting caught in the zip line was freaking hilarious. Because it's just like, wow, that even in my head, I was like, that's a really straight angle. And they're like, oh, that was a really straight angle. That zip lines don't work that way. But there was a really great moment where they're just like, Maya only is after one thing, where she kicks Yelena plus Hawkeye on the way. I think it was Yelena and Hawkeye or Yelena and Kate. They kicks both of them. I was like, that was a nice touch. This person's not with her, obviously. So, yeah, if the person in charge of Maya did not call her, then she does not know who that is. And it probably was Eleanor that made that call. Now to think of it, Eleanor or Jack.
I I think it is Eleanor, and I'm even wondering if there's like a Mr. and Mrs. Smith thing happening between Jack and Eleanor.
Maybe that could be,
and that could be why Armand was so against their
because
their marriage.
he acted like Eleanor was a piece of trash.
Are you looking to see if Eleanor is like an actual character?
Yeah, I'm looking to see if she's like a pile of trash. She is. Eleanor Bishop is a matriarch of the wealthy Manhattanite. Did not know that one. She is married to Derek Bishop. The pair have 2 daughters, Susan and Catherine. Oh yeah, Kate. Duh. Allegedly died while visiting Boulder, Colorado, leaving Derek to raise their daughters. However, she later revealed to be alive and directing the activities of Kate's nemesis, Madame Mask. So I think there might be a little bit more to what you're thinking of. Wow, is that name on the nose? Gilletta Nefaria, Madame Mask.
Oh.
Her last name is literally nefarious.
So given that this is the MCU and they don't always translate things directly from the comics.
Do you think she might be Madame Mask?
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe.
And then there are like some clickbait articles that are saying like Hawkeye's wife might be more than meets the eye.
That one I could never see her being anything else. She has literally never been on screen other than to be the dude that Hawkeye talks to when he's home and she makes supper. like there's an article already that's like, wow, could you believe that Yelena's Mockingjay? I'm like, or the Mockingbird. I'm like, they legit had Mockingbird in an MCU connected show already. Like, I know that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. wasn't exactly MCU adjacent to where it had to follow it like a Bible, but it's like Yelena's just gonna be Yelena.
Yeah, that
like
I don't even know what to say about that.
She doesn't need to be. It's Bobby, right? Mockingjay. I thought her name was Bobby. I could be wrong, but anyway, yeah, it's just one of those things where it's anyone believes anything nowadays, and it's people sending me these articles. Bobby Morris. It's like people sending these articles. It's like, don't you think this cool? I'm like, no, because it hasn't been said in the show. But this article said, just because an article says it does not mean it didn't happen. There are articles that say the Holocaust didn't happen, people. I'm sorry to break the news to you. Yes, it did. That is the height of stupidity. That is me where I will never underestimate how stupid people can be to not, oh, I've got one better. There's a person at my work that legitimately believes that 9/11 didn't happen.
Oh my.
Not that it was a government conspiracy, that it didn't happen. Like, that is next generation triple S stupid. But anyway, they have that, and we see that it's Yelena. And yeah, don't get much out of that. She runs off, and you get the moment that kind of irritated me.
Yeah, this is what I meant when I said in the chat. Like, you can tell this is in a traditional film, the end of the second act.
Yeah, it is. And again, it's very tropey. It's very a 90s type thing to do. But it's like Clint is now being dad mode, where he's like, I'm not getting a kid hurt. This is a Black Widow we're dealing with here. This is too much. Like, Maya and the tracksuits were a bunch of douchebags that we could have dealt with. A Black Widow's after me. Someone is important calling the shots. And then she just stares there and is upset at him and then eventually leaves. I'm like, why didn't you tell him?
This was the perfect opportunity. Or like, she could have told him when Clint was telling his story.
tell it exactly about Ronan, where he's like, all his job has ever been is to hurt people. And she's going to be like, no, you save people. He's like, job is not to save people. He's like, well, you saved me. Twice in this episode, she could have brought that up. They have to be saving it for something. I don't know what they're saving it for, but it better be good because those were two brand moments.
Maybe they're saving it for like the third act, like the third act reunion.
Maybe
this is her boombox moment.
It could be where like he's about to do something incredibly stupid and he tells her to go off, and then like she interrupts him and screams it in his face. Like that I'd be okay with, but y'all can't let another situation like the two you had in this episode fly by without her saying something. Because that's a legit only complaint I've had about this show was these two moments where Kate did not say something. She's in the room with her hero and didn't say something. So that's the legit only complaint I've had about this show. It is the most well-paced show the MCU has. It is one of the most well-written anythings the MCU has. The characters' chemistry is off the charts. Just, man, that's got to come out of the bag at some point. And
it has to.
Yeah. It's legitimately my only complaint with the entire show.
And this is honestly the first episode that it is a complaint, because even the last one, like, sure, that was an opportunity. She missed it. Oh well. This is like this is like strike two.
Yeah, you were put into two hyper emotional situations that Clint brought on himself, talking about how he's not what you know he is. And it was a situation for Kate to not bring it up in a sympathy way, to bring it up to try and fix what Hawkeye's thinking. Yeah, it's, like I said, legit only complaint, and that's why I'm a little bit more upset about it, because this show is that well done that I didn't think they were going to do that. And again, I will let it slide again one more time. I mean, I will let it slide, just don't do it again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it will happen, because much like the show slowly teasing Kingpin, like this is going to happen. It's just a matter of when.
Yeah, exactly. And there's gonna be something where like one of his kids is gonna be like, you need to get her involved, or something. His mom's gonna say something. They're like, I mean his wife. I have a feeling there's gonna be someone saying something to Hawkeye, and he's going to treat the situation like he sees another Nat, kind of, where he's like, this girl's got something and I need to be there. I need to be this person because she's not going to stop. She wants to be a hero and I should let her be a hero. So, yeah. It's going to be weird how that situation's going to likely happen in the same situation where they like to have to convince Yelena that he's not whatever. Like, it could be right when Yelena's about to kill Hawkeye.
Oh, I think that might be what happens.
Yeah, could be.
But yeah, the show is great.
Absolutely.
I think the episodes 3 and 4 have confirmed that. I think I in the second episode, I was thinking, you know what, this may not be the best episode. This may not be the best MCU show, but it's the one I'm having the most fun with. By episode 4, I will straight up admit this is my favorite MCU show.
Oh yeah, and it's also an MCU show that, like, in my opinion, or the first one where it doesn't feel like it's a show. It feels, and this is not a bad thing, it feels like it's a movie chopped into 6 chunks. Yep. Because like there's not a lot of breakage where it's like, and then 2 days later this happened. It's the next episode starts, the next one done. It's one right after another, like it's an ebb and flowing thing. It's not like next week on it's minutes later. And it's good that way. I love that about it.
And this is kind of what I meant when I said, like, this is about the closest in like in style and tone it gets to the Netflix shows, but still having the Marvel flavor.
Yep, absolutely. 100%. They needed I want more stuff like this. I don't know who it could be with. And again, their Moon Knight's still coming. Ah! Like, I don't know what else that's gonna be. It's just like I don't even know what the MCU even has, because it's just like they're going out of their way to go, what didn't we do yet?
I'm looking up Phase 4 right now, and none of the 2022 shows have dates yet, but we've got Moon Knight, we've got She-Hulk, Secret Invasion, Miss Marvel says mid 2022, and then next Christmas is the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special, and then the shows that don't have dates are Ironheart, Armor War.
That's right, Ironheart is a totally different thing.
Yep,
Armor Wars,
and an Untitled Wakanda series.
Yeah, and Marvel Zombies, whenever that's going to be a thing, and that's 9 projects in possibly the next 2 years. Remember when they thought it was a big thing that we were getting 3 movies in a year?
That's adorable.
They're so precious.
Remember how big of a deal it was that like we were getting 2 movies a year?
I thought it was a big deal we were getting 1 a year. That to me was like, whoa, we're getting 1 again next year? Now it's like, whoa, next month the next series is starting? It's nuts. They're going to have so much stuff banked up to just, oh man. It's unreal. It's legitimately becoming unreal. And the best part of it is, though, this is as much content like as this is a bigger content factory than what the CW puts out with the Arrowverse, but this feels like more than the Arrowverse when it's realistically, as far as minutes, doing less.
It feels more digestible than the Arrowverse.
But I still like, out of 9 episodes with I think it was 9 with WandaVision, I felt like I got more out of that than 2 seasons of Arrow.
Yeah, because the material is it's more dense. It gets to the point.
And yeah, it's just like I would quality over quantity. I used to be the guy that was like, great, this show has 400 episodes. I'm so happy. But it's like the more I get older and the more I look at this, the more I'm just like, no, man.
Tell the story.
Tell the story. Just tell the story. If you could come up with something cool to sit off to the side, like a Christmas special, do it. But just tell the story. If you're allotted something and you want to do something flavorful because you have to book that many episodes, like some stuff in Gurren, some stuff in Kill la Kill, like most 2-core animes, they get to the point, but there's obviously some stuff where they're like, well, we have to make another episode, but we're going to make it cool. Do it that way. Where it feels like with the MCU shows, they're like, we want to do this much. How much is it going to take? 6 episodes. Cool, make it. Yeah, absolutely. Then it's like people are like, and there's British TV shows that are like 3 episodes long, but give or take, each of those episodes is an hour and a half.
Yeah, they're like full feature-length movies.
Full feature-length films. Episodes. Okay, Sherlock. But yeah, no, it's still really good. Like I said, I have legitimately 1 complaint. That was it.
That is impressive, honestly.
Yeah. Mike knows me. I can rant about stuff if need be necessary, and I have nothing to complain about outside of that. It's so good. It's so good.
So since as of this recording, we're caught up
Yep.
Let's go make some predictions for episode 5. The focus is obviously going to be on Yelena.
Well, isn't the episode called Black Widow?
I think. Let me confirm.
Because I saw a preview thing, and I swear they said the episode was called Black Widow. But yeah, it's gonna be, and obviously they get over their fight pretty quick because there's a shot from the next coming episode that shows them both on a roof with matching purple uniforms. But do you think that they're gonna convince Yelena in the next episode?
I think so. I think like episode 5 is like her spotlight episode, and by the end she'll be like, she'll either be like, oh, okay, so Hawkeye's not the killer, or she won't believe him, but will still kind of help because she just happens to be in town,
or she is convinced it's not him because of something he does with Kate. Or like he sees that he's not a stone cold killer, has a chance to kill her, and then doesn't. Something like that.
Something like that. Because I don't think I don't think like she knows about Clint's family. She really only knows like Hawkeye, not necessarily the guy behind the arrows.
Yeah. She knows his face, and then she's like, hey, this is him. Like, if she knew about his family in realistic terms, she would have took the family hostage. Not planning to kill them, obviously, but like to get at him. And I'm just trying to think because they have 2 episodes left. They need to handle Yelena. We have not seen anyone outside of the fencing thing have an actual fight with swordsmen. Echo's done basically nothing. And we still have not met her uncle.
I think in episode 6, we're going to meet Uncle.
Yeah.
All really the only prediction I have is that episode 5 is going to set the record straight between Hawkeye and Yelena.
Yeah, I think so too. If not, get it to about the 90% mark. And then the extra 10 happens in episode 6.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be one of those two. I honestly think by the end of 5, we're gonna find out if Eleanor is evil this time around.
I hope so.
Yeah,
like, I need the other shoe to drop.
Yeah, we're gonna find something out. So we'll see, but I'm pretty sure we're going to. It would seem right.
It's funny how the shortest episode became our longest video.
That's what tends to happen because I get ranty.
I even said in the last episode, we're gonna have more to talk about this time.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And yeah, it's gonna be like, I'm just wondering what like the last seconds of, because they've been really good also with putting the last few seconds as basically end credit scenes to like sting, so you know exactly what's going to happen in the next episode. Like, you gotta wonder if there's just going to be a giant Oakwood desk at the end of the next episode. Like, they've also gone out of their way to mention that Stark Tower or that Avengers Tower was sold.
Yep.
They just had to mention it again. Like, they gained nothing if they were just throwing that as a blank fact. And one thing that I don't know if they're ever going to mention it, like, did they just leave Avengers Tower to random construction workers to fix? Or not Avengers Tower, the Avengers compound. Did they ever cover when that got destroyed? Because they're like, all this stuff was recovered from the rubble. Did they just get hit with looters as soon as freaking Endgame happened?
Honestly, that's a good question. So, oh yeah, no, I'm trying to think. Cap is gone, retired. Tony's dead. So, and the rest of the Avengers are, well, that's gone. Thor
Bruce is still around. Thor is off world.
Oh wait, no, there are only 3 left. Thor is off world. Bruce is like
around.
He's around.
Yeah. And not Hulk anymore.
Which I think they're going to explain that in She-Hulk.
In She-Hulk, obviously, yeah. It's just I'm wondering what, like, and they're probably never going to explain it, like how all the, and like unless there was someone backward and crooked that helped clean up the Avengers compound that like slipped a few things into their pockets, which give or take a Rolex and
the Ronin costume.
The Ronin costume wouldn't be super hard if you're pretty talented to get out of confiscation because they're not overt big huge objects, so I guess, but yeah like me and Mike have said, we both really liked it and looking forward to when do the episodes air actually?
Wednesdays,
cool, so we'll be able to record it before I head out of town if that's what we plan on doing. We'll see, because I leave town Thursday night.
Okay,
so we'll have to see. But if we got to do 2 in a row, either with the next one, it's not that big of a deal either. So, because I'm going to edit all these tomorrow and then just have them lined up to upload. But yeah, I was very happy. Like I said, one complaint that can be fixed. So, yep. Mike, where can they reach you?
You guys can find me on Twitter at Captain K42. Check out my quick thoughts on letterboxd.com/CoachK42. And you can find me in all the various Facebook groups just at my name. You can check out Renegade Pop Culture on Facebook and Twitter at Ren Pop Culture. Look for us on Podchaser. Listen to all of our podcasts on Anchor, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, etc. And last but not least, everything can be found at renegadepopculture.com. Need to escape? So do we.
Absolutely. And you can find me everywhere on Organoid Zero. I have an Instagram, but I don't use it. But I'm on there. So yeah, until next time. See you guys.
Peace.